Good evening, everyone. What's up? It is Satisfying Meal. Topped it off the music desserts. Mr. Hata speaking. Previously, there was a video on why corn is not a vegetable. It was supposed to be a full video, but it's going to be divided into three separate segments. This video is going to be on why white potatoes are not a vegetable. Same reasons as corn, but there are different reasons too. Potatoes, 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 the way you probably say it in the South, than potatoes. Potatoes, in Ireland. Well, alright, let's look at potatoes. Potatoes are not a vegetable. Potatoes are rather a starch. They're white, and most vegetables are not white. Potatoes have been seen as vegetables to the consumer because that was what they were told. The reasons why potatoes are not the aspects that make potatoes not a vegetable are their starchiness, nutrition, and the way they're grown. Alright, let's look at the potato starchiness. Potatoes are a pure starch, literally. White potatoes, that is. They're literally the black sheep of the family. These so-called vegetables do not feel like a vegetable when they're mashed up and eaten. They feel starchy. After touching a baked potato, they feel starchy. When looking close at it, it looks like a pile of starch, literally, except in a form of a vegetable, a plant, whatever, of its full form. The starch can be seen even when it's not at its pure form. It has a starchy feel when one is touching it, when it's cooking, when it's eating. It can all be tasted. Taste, touch. It can determine how starchy this tuber is. What other reasons are why not potatoes are not a vegetable? Potatoes, their nutrition. Potatoes are composed of mostly carbohydrates, its macronutrients. So this is a carb-heavy food. This carbohydrate-dense food is composed of mostly carbohydrates, little fat, and little protein. Yes, it has a little bit of protein, but not a lot. It has maybe 3 grams of protein. It has a little bit of fiber, but that's about it. It's got some vitamin C and a few other minerals, or B vitamins, whatever they're called. So there's water-soluble vitamins, and that's about it. It isn't energy dense like a vegetable is supposed to be. It isn't nutrient dense, meant to say. It is very energy dense for being called a vegetable, and it is nutrient poor compared to other vegetables. It isn't nutrient poor, but it lacks nutrients that other vegetables have. So there's more calories in a potato than the amount of carrots that one potato weighs, literally, or other vegetable like celery. It doesn't have very high water content like other vegetables do, most likely. It might, but it's still got a lot of carbohydrates for what it's supposed to be. So that's about it. A little vitamin C, and few B vitamins, some fiber, and that's about it. It's not, quote unquote, a superfood. Last but not least is, let's see, we've covered starchiness, nutrition, its history. Potatoes weren't grown like other vegetables. They were grown like grains were, literally. They grew on terraces like rice did, and they were cultivated the same way as grains were, and even corn, because they were grown on large scale. And let's see what else. They were grown probably after the Paleolithic period. So they're what made the Neolithic period the Neolithic period. They are said to be a starch by other sources. They count as a starch when eaten with like vegetables, or like when eaten in soup. They make the soup starchy a bit. Well, this vegetable is a starch then, because it's proof. Some people say it's a starch, some do not. The majority of people say it's a vegetable, but it is indeed a starch. Those three aspects disproved it. Now, some may argue that, oh, it's a vegetable. It's grown like a vegetable. It's eaten like a vegetable. They said it was a vegetable. That's propaganda. Don't listen to all aspects that propaganda says. They say it's a vegetable because they want to say it's a vegetable. Like, they're telling everybody to eat 6 to 11 servings of grains a day. But potatoes on the food pyramid are grouped up with grains, indeed. So they're not a vegetable, whether people think it or not. Some may argue that it's cooked like that it's got nutrition like a vegetable does. Well, it lacks. It definitely doesn't have a super high amount of vitamin C, and is deficient of plenty of other nutrients, including vitamin A and several minerals. And plus, its energy density, amount of carbohydrates, etc. This is a very high carb food. Ultimately, potatoes, the goal of this video was to inform that potatoes are not a vegetable, and they shouldn't be treated like a vegetable, because they're not a vegetable. When a person's saying that this is a vegetable, they're fooling themselves into thinking that this food is a vegetable. Overall, potatoes are not a vegetable. They belong in the same category as starches and grains do. They belong in the same category as cereals and carbohydrates. That's all there's to say for this video. See you in the next video. Peace out. Mr. Hotdog signing off. Good night. Yeah.